Welcome to Wine Library TV. I am your host, Gary Vaynerchuk. It is a Wednesday, and it is Wine Blogging Wednesday. And if you don't know what that is, and today is number 29, and the first time we're doing it, because my good friend Jack from Fork and Bottle was kind enough to invite us to the party. So Wine Blogging Wednesday has been going on, obviously, for a little while, and they pick a Wednesday, I think it's once a month, a Wednesday where they all blog. All these bloggers all over the internet pick a subject in the wine world and all talk about it on the same day. And so this is our first invite, and we have a tremendous topic. The topic is biodynamic wines. So we've got 4 wines here today that are all biodynamically farmed wines, and we're going to talk about biodynamics, and we're just going to have a whole lot of fun about it. So I honestly want to thank Jack. It means a lot to be part of the inner clique of the wine bloggers in the world, and so we're going to do that. Also, I would be remiss not to mention Sierra Brown. If you didn't see yesterday's performance, it was absolutely fantastic. Please, if this is the first episode you're ever watching, go back to yesterday's episode, I guess 166, today's 167, I'm not sure, whatever it is, the day before today, and definitely check out the end. After I'm done with my spiel, Sierra Brown does her Wine Library TV spoof, and she kills it. It's an unbelievable performance, and once again, anybody who wants to do anything based on Wine Library TV video-wise, please send it in. We'll put you on the show. What else? You might remember this from 2 weeks ago, a couple Fridays ago. This is the Simpson cup I used to taste the wine. There's still the wine stains coming through, and it went on eBay. Big link over here. It's sold, and we're sending it out to the winner. Congratulations to Peter Hirsch, fellow Jets fan. $2,575. An unbelievable guy, and this will be going out. All the money going to a great charity. It's going to be fantastic. We're matching it. The money is on the way, and I better be careful with this. Better not throw it, but I'll throw it anyway. Good catch, Eric. The big announcement, huh? It's probably time for the big announcement, and I'm going to give it to you. This Friday, pretty excited about this. This Friday, Wine Library TV will be live. That is correct. Straight up live. I'm going to put a laptop right here. You will be able to chat with me as I'm doing the show. I think we got a 30-second delay going. The first ever episode of Wine Library TV live, being posted live on the internet. So you'll be watching me real time. We're going to do this at 4:45 Eastern Standard Time. Let's do 4:30 because some people on the West Coast might be on lunch break still. So 4:30 Eastern Time, if you can log on to Wine Library TV, I will be live. There'll be a chat interface right there. It's going to look a little different, and you'll be able to talk to me live during the show. This is pretty cool for us. We're extremely excited about it, so please join us at 4:30 Friday for live WLTV. All right, let's get into biodynamic wines, because that's it's an interesting subject. I think biodynamics, if you bring up a hardcore biodynamic farmer about being organic, they'll punch you directly in your face. Huge infighting. You think the world's got problems. The biodynamics versus the organics are really hardcore. It is a far more serious. Now, a lot of interesting things with biodynamic farming. A lot of these producers, including all 4 of these producers, do not mention on the bottle that it's biodynamically farmed. Now, that's because there's a lot of taboos with wines and biodynamic farms. There's a lot of things with biodynamics that people think is like witchcraft and all this stuff. There's a lot of kind of cool things. I think they're starting to go away, which is great because it's a very interesting practice, and it's an enormous commitment. The people that farm biodynamic vineyards have basically put their lives into their vineyards. They basically live it. It's 24/7. No more vacations, no more going away, because so much of what biodynamic farming has to do with timing and living. The theory is that the earth is alive, and putting your living and breathing aspects into the vineyards. Really amazing stuff. No chemicals. Some of the common things that you see in a biodynamic farm is freshly dead animal heads. Crushings going into the dandelions. Besides cow manure and other things, very interesting, intriguing stuff that you can see. It's really grounded cow horn. I mean, really wild things that go into or at least, might be considered wild. I'd put no judgment on biodynamic farming. it's an enormous commitment, and for that, if nothing else, I commend all the wineries, and there's so many. I mean, Brick House in Oregon, Cayuse in Washington State, Zind Humbrecht, Marcel Dice from the Alsace, Loire, Lafon from Burgundy, Cullen, Jasper Hill the other day we had, Quintessa, Arojo, Robert Sinsky. All these wineries are biodynamically farming. Many are switching over. Bonnie Doon, Joseph Phelps, soon Insignia will be a biodynamic vineyard producing that juice. And really the people that are using biodynamic farming are really happy with their vineyards. Always talk about how their vines are not stressed. We would be remiss to not mention Rudolf Steiner, whose theories these are all based on from the 1920s. Basically, just a very interesting thing. I'm obviously not a science teacher or anything like that, so I'm not going to go crazy into it. Obviously, you can go to many wine blogs today. I'm sure everybody's going to be adding their 2 cents on it. But let's call it a commitment to excellence. And Al Davis, you can sue me if you'd like, but taking a little page out of the Raiders' ownership, I kind of look at this as a commitment to excellence. They're really enthralling their entire livelihoods into their vineyards, and that should be commended, respected, and thanked. Some people estimate that a biodynamic farmed vineyard costs 8 times more than a standard farmed vineyard. So considering the prices are where they're at, the commitment is just overwhelming. And let's start with probably the most famous, in my opinion, and I know a lot of people watching, especially newbies, don't know this vineyard, but you're going to need to find out who this is. This is Zind Humbrecht from Alsace, and this is their 2003 Riesling, not rated, $20 US. This is their Riesling from Alsace. This is an amazing producer. I'm super excited about tasting this wine. I love all their wines. Their wines are some of the best that I've ever had from the region. I mean, talk about color. Are we going to be able to, people going to see this? I mean, good. I mean, this is by far the most golden colored outside of Chateau de Cam. I'm not even sure if this is not more fluorescent. And listen, does it look a little like PB? Sure. But it has got an amazing golden color. I mean, yellow. Really, really wild. Let's give it a little bit of a smell. And this is where these wines crush. I mean, Zind Humbrecht just brings the thunder. It's not scared of you when it comes to aromatic complexities. I mean, we're getting an enormous amount of pineapple, bluestone, apricot, little hints of pear, and even cantaloupe, like a real fresh, good cantaloupe, you know, getting that on the nose. This is really aromatically explosive. There's a hint of petrol coming through, but it's like very underlining, but it's very classic for Alsace. Wow. Wow. This wine coats your palate with so much obnoxious pineapple. Not a normal pineapple, a pineapple that is obnoxious. And what I mean by that is very ripe and huge with flavor. Like the best pineapple flavored candy you've ever had, which I've never had a pineapple flavored candy. Do you know any? Yeah? What? Runts? Whatever. The bottom line is enormous amounts of pineapple coming through on this wine. Covers your palate completely. Tremendous integration of acidity. Tremendous integration of acidity. Now let's call it TIA, because TIA is very important, because when white wines bring TIA to the table, you are getting a much more complete and complex, rich and profound bottle of white wine. And this wine does this. This is room temperature. A lot of people would drink this at a little bit of a chill, and you know, a lot of people like to drink white, but I love drinking my white wines at room temperature because you get a lot more flavor profile. The cold is not hiding the mistakes or the flavors. This is an extremely solid bottle of Riesling. I'm going to score this wine 90 points, which is extremely solid. Eric feels like I should have rated it a little higher. He's a little bit disappointed. But, you know, I'm excited about the acidity, not everything else about the wine. But it's a tremendous 90-point bottle of wine, which is spectacular. If you're trying to get into Rieslings, this is the producer you need to seek out. This is a nice bottle of wine. 90 plus because I like Eric. And you got to throw him a bone once in a while. All right. Let's move on. Clos Roche Blanche, 2004, Touraine, Côte Melbac. This is from the Touraine in the Loire Valley, Côte Melbac. Now, most of the Touraines you see Rouge in Loire are Cabernet Franc, but this is Malbec, 100% unfiltered. So let's see what this has got coming to the table. This is $15, unrated. Now we're seeing a lot. I'm seeing quite a bit of organic farms popping up in Burgundy, Loire, Alsace. Big movement there, and and I gotta be honest with you. From the wines that I've tasted, when you start putting in the pedigree of Quintessa and Orojo and Cayuse from Washington State, which I think is one of the best, if not the best, from Washington State, Zind, Humbrecht, Marcel Dies, all these Lafond and Loise from Burgundy, you're going to have to start believing that there's something to this, because we're talking about some of the best wineries in the world. Plus, you get me back to the vineyards, back to the terroir, back to the earth. And with what's going on today in society, I think a lot of people realize there's a big green movement in the world, and it's just great to preserve this world we live in. And I just see a lot more people trending towards this direction in winemaking and more importantly, farming, excuse me. And it should be really interesting to see when will be that threshold where putting biodynamically farmed on a label helps, because a lot of people did it about 5-7 years ago. It hurt their sales and everybody took it away. So, great color. Really nice dark color for Malbec. This wine smells like a disturbing mix of really rotten, dirty laundry mixed with a vegetable salad that you bought at the market that day. Like really fresh vegetables mixed with really stinky old laundry. It's pretty tough. And there's a lot of people who would not enjoy the nose on this wine, no doubt about it. It's got a black pepper scent coming through on the final stroke of the nose. Really dark, freshly ground pepper coming through. That's really the overriding flavor that's starting to come through more and more. And, I like it. So let's give it a taste. Listen, biodynamically farming doesn't guarantee you're going to make a great wine. This wine is light, disjointed, flavorless would be a term I'd use, which is bad. We're going to score this wine 80 points, and I'd probably give it a 79, but I want to use 80 because 80 is the number of Wayne Corbett, good solid jet, and so we'll use 80, but this is definitely a wine I'd say pass, and we may throw up 8 Z's on this one. Let's move on. Really completely not worth your while. Sorry about that. All right. Antiyal is a very interesting Chilean wine that's getting a lot of press. 92 points, Wine Spectator, $39 US. This is a blend from Chile. This is 50% Carmignane, 40% Cabernet, 10% Syrah. Again, great press. It's definitely hot. We're selling a lot of this wine. So let's see what's going on with this. Again, 50 Carmenere, which is, we've talked about Carmenere on the show a couple times. 40 Cab, 10 Syrah. $39, which is pricey for the category in Chile. It's on the high end of the wines coming out of that country. 92 points Wine Spectator. About 580 cases produced of this wine, so it's very limited. And let's give it a whirl. Wow, very nice nose. I'm getting a nice cedar box tobacco flavor coming through. I'm definitely tasting a little bit of the oak. Smelling a little bit of the oak. Really ripe black cherry flavor coming through, which is nice. Also a hint of subtle, fresh summer plums coming through on the nose, which is really nice as well. And little hints of like dark chocolate coming through. A little bit of coffee bean as well. Really nice. This is a really tremendous nose. 2004. This wine's extremely young. These wines have been open. We're late today. These wines have been open for about 4 hours. So it's definitely had some air come through, but it's still very tight. The tannins are extremely bitter. rounded with a little bit of, it's like a punch in the face and then they give you a candy bar. So, it's like, yeah, thanks for the candy bar, but my face hurts. But that's kind of what this wine reminds me of. It's got potential. It's got sour, bitter tannins right now, but I think that could blow over. This is one of the more awkwardly youthful wines, kind of like that teenager stage, lots of, pimples coming through, glasses, braces. That's kind of how I think about this wine. I'm going to score this wine 88 points, but it's kind of like that boy or girl in your class that in 7th grade you're like, but you're like, you know what, maybe I should become friends with this person because my senior year of high school, good connection. That's kind of what I'm thinking about this wine. This wine has 90, 91, 92 point potential in it. It's just disjointed, young, and just not polished right now. Great bouquet, though. I mean, you could almost argue the point that it's worth just to pour and smell. I know I'll get blasted for that. I agree. Don't just buy it to smell it. All right. Let's move on to the final wine. This is the Cullen 2002 Madeline Red Blend from Margaret River. And this is a wild blend of Cabernet Merlot, 80% Cab, 12% Merlot, and 8% Petit Verdot, barreled for 18 months in French oak, 65% of which are new French oak. Again, this one's real interesting. 42 US dollars, or as I like to say, 42 bones, and it's 93 points. Stephen Tanzer, which is, Stephen Tanzer's wine critic. I'm not sure if it's Tanzer or Josh Reynolds. I'll have to double check that for you. But who writes for Stephen in that category? But 93 points, real high score for a very conservative magazine. And I'm excited about trying this. Really dark again. I felt like getting up a little bit. And had a little problem with the corkscrew today. I was being a little ambitious, tearing them up. So, you're not the only ones that break corks. So don't worry if you ever do that. Let's give this a whirl. Very obvious bell pepper coming through on the nose. Cabernet is dominating. I'm getting a little bit of a pickle juice on the nose coming through a little awkwardly. Really, really lively jalapeno peppers. I'm getting a lot of vegetal aspects, as you can tell, but all being coated by a very interesting red cassis, red jam kind of flavor, underlining like in the mid-tone of the nose. Smells elegant, too, which is kind of, one of those things. Anyway. Oof. No way. Very light for a wine that's got 80% Cabernet. Everybody knows, or at least a lot of you know, how big of a fan of Petit, almost stuck again, of a Petit Verdot I am. But it's not bringing much to the table here at all, probably except for the color that it's bringing to this wine. This wine is light, uneventful, boring. The flavors are very subtle and just standard, a little oak, a little cherry. This wine is doing absolutely nothing for me. I'm going to score this wine 86 points, which is, an obvious pass at $42. Obviously, you never know. We picked 4 wines that we carry biodynamically. I don't think biodynamic farming guarantees you quality wines. What I think it does is definitely produces a very healthy atmosphere and a very right thing to do. And I'm a big believer in karma. But unfortunately, the red wines here today, and don't take this as an indication that white wines do better than red wines from a biodynamic standpoint, but here's how they finish. The Zind Humbrecht dominates the show. Antiyal, I think, has good potential, and this could be a good wine one day. The Cullen 86, and this is not even worth talking about. But that all being said, I'm really excited about seeing what the next 5 to 10 years. There's probably a little piece of my mind that says 80 to 90% of all vineyards in the world could go biodynamic in the next 20 years. And so that will be really interesting to see if that happens. I really enjoyed tasting these wines. I have a question of the day for you. Don't forget about Friday at 4:30. Question of the day. Great one from Eric Kastner, the main man. What is the first R-rated movie you've seen? Because let's be honest, Let's be honest together. You, with a little bit of me, we're changing the wine world, aren't we? Biodynamic, organic,